The wind howled through the shattered windows of the skyscraper, whipping the tattered American flag into a frenzy. On its rusted pole, the last emblem of a nation long gone. Below, amidst the toppled giants of steel and glass, a lone figure tightened his grip on a dented gas can, bracing against the storm. He wasn't looting today, he was waiting. Waiting for the sun to dip below the horizon, for the dead to stir from their concrete tombs, for the night to bleed into shades of black and gray. He was waiting for them, the relentless horde, the insatiable hunger, the shambling tide of teeth and eyes. 5 people, clever, cautious, and impossibly lucky, remained untouched. They were Mira, a former biochemist, brilliant and resourceful. Jox is ex-military, tactical, and hardened. Lena, a hacker who once breached government firewalls for fun. Tariq, a mechanic with a knack for building traps. And Eli, a quiet teenager with photographic memory and unmatched powers of observation. Mira was close to developing a serum that neutralized the virus's effects. Jox trained them in combat, teaching them how to wield scavenged weapons with deadly accuracy. Suddenly, she froze. "I intercepted a transmission," she whispered. "A survivor cell outside Navarre. They're calling all remaining humans." Finally, they reached Sector 9, a hidden lab beneath the old university. The Echo still roamed, but fewer each day. The fog lifted, revealing a sky washed clean. Beside her, Jox, Lena, Eli, and the newest recruits bustled with activity, readying themselves for the day ahead. And let me know what you think. Also, check out the other shorts on my channel. I've got plenty more stories just like this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. A faint smile touched Mira's lips.
It's a new dawn,
she whispered, her voice catching the wind, and we are rising with it. The survivors emerged from their shelters, blinking in the harsh daylight, their faces etched with the horrors they had endured. In the grand tapestry of human endurance, they had survived the fall, the transformation, and the torment. Now they had to rebuild. Scientists, soldiers, survivors, barely holding on. Mira handed over her research. Combined with their prototype, they created a serum that reversed early-stage infection. It wasn't perfect, but it was a start. Jox led a raid to distribute the cure. Lena broadcast instructions citywide. Eli became the youngest strategist in the resistance. And slowly, Navarre began to breathe again. They might have a cure. Hope flickered in their eyes. After weeks of struggle, a glimmer of light appeared. It was too risky to leave, but staying meant accepting defeat. They chose hope. Tarek, the architect of chaos, built automated turrets and booby-trapped every entrance with pressure plates and tripwires. The fog still lingered, but they moved like ghosts. Jox led with military precision. Mira carried the sample. Lena jammed echo signals. Tariq laid traps behind them. Eli spotted patterns no one else saw. They lost Tariq in a rooftop ambush. He stayed behind, triggering a firebomb that wiped out an entire echo nest. They cried, but they kept moving. Eli, the silent observer, mapped every echo movement pattern, anticipating their every move. Every night the echoes came. They didn't shuffle. They sprinted. They climbed. The survivors called them echoes because they mimicked human behavior. They'd set traps, use tools, even mimic voices to lure prey. But the group adapted. Mira discovered that UV light slowed the infection. Lena created a virus scanner from an old drone. Tariq built flame turrets from broken vending machines. Eli spotted patterns no one else saw. They didn't know why they hadn't turned. Maybe they hadn't breathed the fog. Maybe their DNA was different. Didn't matter. They were alive. And now they were hunted. He welcomed them. Tonight he would feed. Above them, the echoes stalked the ruined streets. Mira cradled a vial filled with infected tissue. "I've been studying the virus," she said, her voice tight. "It seems to target the central nervous system, manipulating it, turning it against the host." Jax nodded grimly. "Then we need to get out of here. We can't hide in the sewers forever." Welcome to Ashes of Navarre, where the living are fewer than the dead, and survival is a game with no rules. Rain lashed against the grimy windows of the abandoned subway station, harmonizing with the mournful cries of the wind. Inside, nestled amidst the grime and decay, was a sanctuary, a testament to human resilience. Here in the belly of the earth, the 5 survivors had built a base, complete with solar-powered lights, motion sensors, and escape hatches reinforced with concrete. Outside, the echoes prowled, but within these 4 walls, there was hope. Now let's jump right into Chapter 1, The Fall of Novar. Novar was once the jewel of the Midwest, a city that never slept, always polished and gleaming. Neon lights painted the glass towers in hues of rose gold and electric blue. Laughter spilled from rooftop bars, and the hum of commerce never ceased. But those memories were locked away now, buried under the weight of despair. All that remained was the whisper of ghosts in the rusted swing sets of abandoned playgrounds, the haunting melody of a distant siren in the skeletal remains of office buildings. All that remained was the echo of a nightmare. It started subtly. A minor tremor, a ripple in the placid surface of Lake Novar. The virus that engineered this apocalypse was christened Z13. It's not because it was the 13th iteration, but because it rewired the host at a zombified frequency. The survivors, if they allowed themselves to remember, would tell tales of how the infected writhed in agony for hours before transformation. Of how some retained fragments of consciousness, pleading to be shot, to be stabbed, to be burned. Others spoke of the infected chorus, the eerie symphony of screams and moans that heralded the arrival of the hungry dead. But most of all, the stories revolved around the stillness. When the fog descended, when the city fell silent, it was then that the nightmares began. A shiver ran through the city, unsettling but not alarming. Then the mist rolled in from the east, thick, greenish, and silent. Within hours, people began coughing, then convulsing. Their eyes rolled back, revealing milky white pupils that stared sightlessly into the sky. Dicked, their skin bleached, their limbs contorted, and worst of all, they didn't die. Instead, they lurched forward, driven by a single purpose, driven by the echo of a command. They were fast, coordinated, and relentless. Within 3 days, Novar was gone. In the annals of history, this day would be known as Black Dawn, but not everyone fell. In the intricate network of sewers beneath Novar, the 5 survivors huddled around a flickering oil lamp. Ashen clouds bled across the bruised sky. Lena, the digital phantom, had hacked into the city's surveillance grid, providing them with a bird's-eye view of Novar and its inhabitants, or rather its non-inhabitants. They weren't just surviving, they were fighting back. In the dead of night, Lena's fingers flew across the keyboard, her eyes blazing with determination. The journey to Sector 9 was suicide. Echoes patrolled every street, buildings crumbled. Myra clutched the cure vial tighter, its contents a beacon of hope in the encroaching darkness. Hope bloomed in the ruins of Novar, tenacious and resilient. Myra stood on the rooftop of the lab, watching the sunrise paint the eastern sky in hues of rose gold and lavender. So I hope you enjoyed this story. If you did, please leave a comment below.